You're not wrong for walking away. You're not wrong for feeling the shift. They are not wrong either, nor is the circumstance wrong. You see, life is full of change. It is inevitable that we will experience a shift in relationships and environments throughout our lives. And no one has to be labeled wrong for feeling those shifts. Now, I want to be clear about something. Consciousness is full of narratives. We get to choose which narrative we adopt for ourselves. So, when you find yourself in a circumstance and it becomes this me versus you situation, but you feel convicted a certain way and the other person feels their own convictions, why does it have to be that they have to be wrong or that you have to be wrong? A better way to frame this is that this is what's right for me right now. We don't have to dwell in this mentality that there is a right or wrong way to think. Everybody has, and it is a universal right, everybody has a right to decide how they think about anything. Now let's talk about, important relationships like marriage, things like that, or a job or career that you felt emotionally invested in and it didn't work out. You see, everything is by design. Everything was predetermined before you came here. Maybe not every single little detail, whether you had the cup of coffee or not. Some things might be optional, but there are a lot of elements that are predetermined to fit the blueprint or the schedule that your soul decided on before coming to Earth, the Earth realm, if you will. So this mentality that someone is right or wrong, now think about this. Let's divide this up a little bit. Okay, in your mentality, in your energy, your frequency, your vibration, you have certain things that you need to accomplish. Your soul has decided to accomplish whatever it is, okay? Another person might be on a completely different frequency altogether. Their belief system might align with that, will align with that frequency, okay? If that's true, sometimes the narratives clash a little bit. But that's not to say that anyone is wrong. We live in this environment where it's a lot of bickering and fighting and who's right and who's wrong and my way is the best way and your way is the wrong way. That's not clarity. That is confusion. And it's best to understand that there are narratives and perspectives. And to have a perspective that you solidly invest in is perfectly okay. Same for another person. Now, it's okay also for you to decide and feel that your way is the best way to do things. We are provided with options in life. We're given choices. We have our own logic. Things make sense to us. We have our own feelings. These dynamics all play into the situation that's going on. It's not fair to dismiss another person's point of view. It's also not fair to dismiss your point of view. So when they clash, you can observe, you can acknowledge without dismissal, but you don't have to adhere. You don't have to become or give in to a narrative that does not feel that it's true for you. Because when you do that, you're compromising yourself. And when you compromise yourself, you are weakened. The point of these videos and the point of any kind of self-help is to empower you, to make you better, to make you autonomous. Yes, you want to be relational. Yes, you want to be a functional person in a relationship. But that doesn't mean you have to compromise who you are. I would question the relationship if you do. So allow yourself to be you. It's your terms, it's your conditions, but you're not setting those terms and conditions for the other person, because then that becomes a control mechanism, and that isn't the highest good in a relationship. It's not the highest good for a relationship. The best thing for a person to do when relating to the world is to understand that everything is in flux. Everything. Your marriage might not last. It's a good thing to consider. It's not necessarily something you have to hope for or believe that it will come to an end. It might not, but you have to understand that this is an impermanent world. Things do happen, and they happen for a reason. And you have to be in a place of flexibility. Otherwise, the resistance will cause you suffering. The more you resist, the more you suffer. Why is that? Well, when I put up a resistance to life and what's happening, then I'm saying that the story is all wrong. This is what I'm saying about the situation. But I don't have control entirely on this level for the whole story. I don't have control of the whole story. I just have control over how I handle the story. I've said before in other videos that we are on a ride in life. We have soul contracts. We determined some things before we came here, maybe not everything. I like to think of it like this. On the other side, we built the skeleton, sort of the framework for our lives. And then in life, we get to put meat on the bones. So the life choices that you make, your freedom of choice, begins before you're born. And then you come here and you start to put meat on the bones, meaning other choices, other things that you do. But the main core of the contract stays in place. And you move through life meeting these little milestones that keep you on the trajectory of what it is that you're here to do. That would be like your soul's mission. So sometimes it may look like a bad thing is happening. Now, what you can do, and it will help you, and it will improve the situation and the circumstances, and it will improve the meat on the bones. What you can do is simply believe that the universe / God is doing everything for you. Whether it's a good or bad thing that is happening in your life, it is happening for you. If you have that understanding, when you lose the job or you lose the relationship and things seem like they're spiraling out of control, if you are anchored into the idea that God is always for you, then you are a step ahead of the rest. Because here in this place, you have an elevated frequency. You have a positive mindset. That positive mindset produces better results, gives you a better experience because you are in the flow. You are relieving yourself of stress. You are relieving yourself of anxiety. If you allow that the bad things happening are not happening to you, but they're happening for you. So let's go back to relationships and alignment. Therefore, if my relationship falls apart, or this job falls apart in my life, there is no wrong thing that is happening in this moment. There is only right. You are only getting moved forward into a better place. Ultimately, what I say is completely true. Once you die on the other side, everybody comes back to the light at some point. That is a fact as far as I'm concerned, based on my thousands of near-death experiences that I've studied. Everybody goes back to the light eventually. Until then, we're on a little bit of an adventure, and you can see it that way. See, that's the narrative that you can choose. And when it's time to step out of alignment with a situation or a person, just allow for it. It's okay. You don't have to resent them. There's no law that says you have to resent someone because you stepped out of alignment and they kept going their way. Or maybe they stepped out of alignment. Sometimes energies diverge. Someone told me, a wise woman told me once, that relationships are like a ladder. Each rung on the ladder gets you to the next place. Now, some relationships, such as romantic relationships, may begin early on the ladder, and they may go the rest of the way up, all the way to the top of the ladder, meaning the rest of your life. You get married young, and you die old and happy together. And that's nice. That is a certain kind of life that you can live. There again, there's not a right or wrong situation here. We are talking about differences, okay? For some, it might be better that they meet a person, they're with them for a little while, they learn a lot of lessons, they may have kids together, they glean a lot of things and information and things that enrich their soul from that relationship, good or bad, by the way. And then now it's time to move on. Now there is a divergence. The alignment has changed. The frequency of the relationship is no longer what it was in the beginning, and that is okay. Then you move up the ladder. You have other experiences until maybe you meet someone else later on, okay? See, this makes it such that you can actually have more than one soulmate in a lifetime. Now, that might be hard to digest, and it might sound a little bit like, well, that's not romantic or whatever. But think about what a soulmate is, okay? So on the other side, you have soul groups. Everything is decided, predetermined to a degree. You come into this world and you experience life together. So maybe you have a contract with another soul to live life together and do life together for a little while, to accomplish these other things, and then to go different directions. It's like kids on the playground. They play with each other for a little while, they have a good time, and then they just sort of part ways. We don't have to assign meaning to the parting of ways. We don't have to say that that person is good, bad, or otherwise. They're just on a different path now. It's okay. All right, so when we are in these, and then later on, let's say you enter into another relationship. And that other relationship may last a little bit longer, and then you part ways, or you may stay with that person the rest of your life. And that person has more of the lifetime commitment thing going. But the two relationships are not necessarily unequal. They're just different. They serve different purposes. So when we get it out of our minds that people are, bad and they're doing me wrong and all this other stuff that kind of clutters the mind and makes us feel like, and even ourselves, we turn in on ourselves and we make ourselves feel inadequate. We make ourselves feel like that we weren't good enough or we didn't do well enough, that we weren't able to give the person what they needed, and therefore that's why it didn't work out. When we can let that go and reframe the whole context of the situation as alignment, see, that becomes a superpower, because you can use that superpower all through the rest of your life. If you get into the habit of not gripping everything that comes along, not insisting that it has to stay the same. It might be fun, it might be exciting, but it's inevitable that change will happen. It's inevitable that things will go away. So give yourself grace and mercy. Give yourself the opportunity of a lifetime. See things from the bigger picture. See things as alignment and frequency, and you will help yourself move along through life with less resistance, less friction, and a happier spirit. If you like this video, I want to encourage you to like and subscribe. I am trying to grow my channel, and I hope you have a good day.